showing. Here I am. Ooh. Today, we're talking about what I call the Soulless Renaissance. And this is the moment when the collective spiritual shift is actively exposing a frequency that has always been present, but is becoming harder to hide. Now, this is a teaching rooted in my power of release framework. Recognize, release, and reframe. And even though I am talking about a societal level, release, I still am operating at the individual level to help people discern their own spiritual journey. So those three moments, recognize, release, and reframe, are carrying us through this entire stream. And this idea of the soulless is not going to carry on forever, but it is a direction that I'm being divinely guided to right now. By the time we close, you will know how to recognize the frequency of the soulless, stop feeding it your life force, and reframe your relationship to power from a place of spiritual sovereignty and not panic. I have no idea if anybody is doing chat. I see private chat. I'm not even sure that that's chat. Let me see what's happening here. Can I click on? I see me here. I don't know how to open this panel. I cannot open panel. Me. Yo, we are in what I call and have called in the prior live stream a 4D bridge phase. Humanity is being called toward unity, compassion, cooperation, and genuine care. And that call is being resisted, as I addressed in the last live stream, Soulless Renaissance. So what we are experiencing now, right now, the intensified fear, public cruelty, the obsession with wealth, the disdain for the vulnerable, the social division, this is not random chaos. This is a low frequency revolt. Let that sink in for you right there. Let that sink in for you right there. And so, this revolt is the old architecture of this society trying to preserve itself. And I want to name something that sits at the center of all of this, because we really talk about this directly in spiritual spaces. Money is dead until consciousness gives it meaning. It cannot love, it cannot grieve, it cannot discern or heal or protect. Money has no moral intelligence. Let me turn on my other little lights here. Yet, in 3D consciousness and 3D reality, go back to the Soulless Renaissance video for more. Money becomes and is a false life force. And the soulless are sustained by that confusion because dead money can be used to imitate living power. Even in our own little reality worlds, most of us are consumed with how we're going to get money, keeping money, maintaining money. And it's understandable. Yet, money is dead. Money can buy platforms, shape policy, distort spiritual spaces, and make control look like success. Look, when you understand the distinction living power versus dead money, you begin to see the architecture beneath the events currently. You know, I don't know if anybody's watching. I'm getting the point or the belief that no one even gives a crap about what is happening. Not only that, but what the hell I have to say. But I'm going to keep talking. And if you have something to say in regards to these questions, this is a prompt for the chat because I'm sick of playing games. What is one word that describes what you feel when you observe public systems right now? Drop it in the chat. You know what? I'm just so sick and tired of trying to figure out how to let my message resonate. And you know what? And how to get engagement, how to get clicks. I'm done. It's going on 4 months. I'm not giving up, but I'm just sick and tired of this promo engagement reel. Those who need to hear me will come. Those who are not ready won't come and will click and leave. So look, according to the power of release framework, we got to recognize that that's whatever that is that's not serving us. And yeah, I'm a little bit on edge today because I'm realizing that the on edge is what gets viewership. The controversial is what reigns supreme in this YouTube and other social engagement realities. And so, as someone who was reared in theater, musical theater, performance, I will give you what you want. Now, you can choose to say, oh my God, she's fucking crazy. I don't want to listen to her. Don't. I'm done. I'm done trying to be palatable because palatable does not work. I'm sick of it because I'm not palatable. I am no way palatable. What I have been through in this life resonates with what I'm sharing today. And I will tell you that I'm tired of the palatable way. I am a spiritual guide, but only for those who can stand the truth. Unadulterated, unfluffed, and real. So at this point, I'm throwing off the freaking palatability and sitting in what I know. Recognition. Oh, and I want to say that, no, I do not interact with people who are working with me in that way, but individual work with clients and captivating a fleekless, funky virtual reality are two different environments, okay? And yes, you can get mad at me all you want, ban me. I just look, not want to see me because I'm just like, fuck it. I do have a lot to say. And again, what I do in private practice is not reflected in what is necessary to guide people into releasing what is not serving you on these social media platforms. So recognize is the first movement of release. And I want to say, I had been using Chat GPT to help me craft live streams for my notes. Today, I am using Claude. And I have to say, Claude AI is like, there is no comparison with Chat GPT. First round, first prompt, or a couple of prompts. Okay. And I want to be clear about something. The soulless are not always obvious. They're not. Okay, they may appear successful, charming, articulate, religious, patriotic, professional, or spiritually polished. Their power depends on performance. They know how to mimic concern without being transformed by suffering. So we are not looking for monsters. No, we're not. We are reading frequencies. And unfortunately, American society, conditioning, acculturation, and all the crap they feed into us so that we are completely screwed up, does not provide the awareness of vibration and frequency as it relates to our energy. It will never do that. And look, because frequencies leave evidence, okay? Frequencies are clearer than pointing fingers at groups. Frequencies are critical because, as I said, they leave evidence. And look, I'm going to give you 7 characteristics because I promised you in the last live stream 7 characteristics to apply these to people, places, and things, systems, institutions, where you may have excused it in trying to recognize, of course, not the soulless, but the BS in which we are all ensconced and being freaking driven by many of us, okay? Being pulled around, placed around, thrown around, and we just have our noses wide open to this BS. Because you know what? We are on automatic, most of us. And we believe in the American experiment. No, I do not. And for those of you who are going to retaliate against me on that sentence, no, I do not believe in America exceptionalism. Never, because it's never been exceptional. So those of you who want to bash me, go right ahead. So I'm giving you 7 characteristics to discern what's happening around you in your social reality, and characteristics to apply to people to discern a spiritual discernment of the soulless. Emotional death. I talked about this in my live stream on misattunement. Okay, emotional death is not ordinary. It's not ordinary composure or temporary numbness, because many of us are numb right now. Many of us. I'm not, but many people are numb because they just can't believe this is happening. Well, there's a segment or segments of the American population, as I said before, what did you expect? But there are many people who are not expecting the BS, who are, this is in America. This is America. And you've been living in some bubble. A bubble, like the bubble boy. I wish I had some graphics to show. And you're not prepared for any of what is happening now because you've been sitting in privilege and comfort. And you have no real grit when society shows you that you ain't shit. Spiritual people can't cuss. And please don't compare me with other people because I'm me. So I said emotional death. This is a deeper severance of inner life, okay? Where a person no longer experiences their own emotional reality with enough access for it to shape conscious or to interrupt harmful behavior. As a matter of fact, as I said in both of the emotional videos, Mr. Toom, Emotional Intelligence, emotions create, give weight to our experience, and denote our place in our specific realities. No emotion? Where are you? What reality are you in? So, emotionally dead people may understand emotion conceptually, okay? But what is absent is living contact with it. That absence is dangerous because emotion is part of what makes other persons, populations, groups suffering register as consequential. And if you're not registering suffering as consequential, perhaps you are emotionally dead. Second, lack of genuine empathy. The soulless do not meaningfully connect with humanity on any level, suffering, joy, all that on any level. They notice pain, but that does not disrupt their agenda. They can witness harm and forget joy, because for them, joy revolves around money, right? And joy is dead. And money is dead, right? So, they can witness harm and move immediately toward justification, strategy, blame, or profit. Place that where you will, and that's an exercise. Where will you place that? And this is different from emotional reserve. Soullessness is cold. It is absence of sacred regard. Sacred regard is understanding that life matters. Every single last one of us matters. However, some people have mattered more than others. And so it's those people who have mattered more than others who really won't know what to do when the inevitable happens. So I assert that those people who are sitting in privilege and comforted by privilege, that you watch this and gain insights to help you. Yeah, there's those survivalists, but yeah, they're surviving for many reasons. They're smart. Some are surviving so they can come out and see a white world. Some are surviving because they know what's going to happen. Everybody knows that where we are heading in this 4D bridge, they know this intuitively, but they can't get it out because there's so much noise in their head. And in society, that there's only one end to this. You think somebody's going to save you, change, say, hey, hold up. Not here in America. Okay. So the third characteristic, manipulation and perform feeling. The soulless can perform concern, outrage, victimhood, morality, spiritual language when it helps them control perception. So I ask you, are you performing concern, outrage, victimhood, morality, and just fake spiritual speak? You know, unless you're just so dumbed down by your social conditioning that you can't even discern whether what you believe and what you say is true. That could be anybody. The question is never whether the words sound right. The question, as I've always said, and that I have a live stream on, is what the behavior produces. You champions, supporters, apologists, you see what the behavior is producing. I don't know what your freaking problem is, but the production is death. The emotional dead, the soulless, want death among the populace, except for those who are aligned. Death. If you don't see that, if you can't conceive that or perceive that, I'm trying to help you here. The fourth characteristics is utilitarian relationships. People become tools. Threats, labor, symbols, entertainment. How about all the bombing? Entertainment videos in Iran. Some sick crap right there. And just the full-on spectacle display on media about what's happening with the people who are killing folks on the street and throwing them in the concentration camps. Concentration camps with no oversight. If you support that, I'm going to say right now and for always, you are a soulless being and emotionally dead. So, the question is never whether the words sound right in manipulation and perform feeling. Look, the question is what the behavior produces, as I said. Does the concern lead to repair? Does the apology change the pattern? Does the spiritual language open the heart? Or does it protect power? Did I say that? Oh, utilitarian relationships. Connection with folks is based on usefulness rather than communication. If a person no longer serves a desired role, paying bonding, people have been fired, let go because of the color of the skin, the warmth disappears, or it turns hostile. This shift is occurring if you can just open your mind to the fact of this. See it, witness it. That shift is data. Cruelty without moral interruption. And I hate the word morality because it's just been used to freaking debase people, populations, and the people spouting morality have been moralists. Cruelty does not stop the soulless because cruelty serves the low frequency, the one in which we are seeking in this fourth dimensional bridge to identify and release, right? Cruelty is the old frequency. Connection is based on usefulness, okay, as I said. So if suffering helps preserve power, they justify it. Look and see this. If fear keeps people obedient, then they amplify it. If poverty keeps people desperate, then they moralize it. Where is that happening? There is no internal mechanism that tells the soulless, who are desperately attempting to retain power in this spiritual evolution. There is no mechanism for them that says it's going too far, because they don't care. And for those of you who believe you look like them and they care about you, I mean, we've been saying this forever. Other folks, they don't care about no one. No one. Except if they can further their aspirations and conquests. So, the 6 characteristics of the soulless is rigid control. They seek control over the room, the story. You're dumb. You're so stupid. Can't believe you asked me that question. You're a piggy. You're an idiot. I don't even know how you got your job. The room, the story, and the money. And they even got folks that don't look like them, behaving as the soulless. And you can't tell these people nothing, because to them money is power. Money cannot be power, because power is energy, it's frequency, and money is dead. Let me tell you. They seek control over the money, the information, as we know, the bodies, the narrative, and the terms of reality itself. I mean, they got their own people. And the ones who bought into all of this maggots crap. They see reality with their own eyes, but there's something wrong with these people, because they're allowing some complete emotionally dead, soulless, low frequency populace tell them that what they see is not what they see, and they believe what these people tell them. So there's something wrong. The soulless have infected. They have infected many folks with some sort of soulless pathogen, where they're taking on these soulless attributes, and they act like, what's wrong? I don't understand what the problem is. He's doing what he's got to do. Anybody who says that, I want you to realize they may not have a lot of money to be in power, but that person is freaking sick and or soulless. Apply the characteristics. So, control, especially in regards to them trying to create a new reality, which social media has sort of instigated and helped foster different realities. That's another discussion. Look, control replaces inner authority, which is all the power of release, self-sovereignty, inner authority, inner healing, because the low frequency cannot trust what it cannot dominate. And so those of us who are aligning ourselves with the low frequency, supporting it, believing it's going to work for us, and for those of us who are saying the Blacks created this society, why are we, we fought in hard and we died. It's a repetitive pattern that has no solid outcome. No possible great outcome, because everything they fought for, it's gone with the wind. Gone. Social media, as I mentioned, characteristic 7. Social media as a frequency delivery system Talk about low vibration capture. A feed can separate people into emotional realities where fear, envy, contempt, and outrage and suspicion are rehearsed every day. Oh, day, because people love to suck on the pain body, pain teat, which I talked about in regards to the scarcity pain matrix. And certain people who adopt this idea of privilege and I'm supposed to be in power, they're the main ones that are so gullible to whatever is being said in American society. And it's a shame that they've been so conditioned. They just, like I said, run around with the nose open, tell me something that makes me feel good, that shows me I'm good. You know, these bad things, suspicion, envy, all that stuff, rehearsed every day. Over time, people do not simply disagree. It's no longer disagreement as it was on social media. It's a spiritual divide. Like I said, a spiritual malady by what they have been trained to feel. And you got to believe that if you're, as a communication scholar, researcher, if you're exposing yourself to the same thing over and over and over again, which confirms everything you believe because you have no capacity to critical think, and you're just a wuss and driven by what other people say, then you are trained to feel and exist in the low vibration. Because actually, if you're low vibrating, you call it into your life, then maybe, as I believe that happens by chance. If you're calling and sitting in low vibrations, you're just honoring the reality of who you are, right? So this is not rocket science here. You sit in the low vibrations, the BS, you take that up. That is who you are. And some people say that there's redemption in this 4D bridge phase where people are inherently good. Good and bad is not the issue here. The issue is low frequency or a higher vibration. Low frequency is the gutter, the BS, the stupidity, the ignorance, the play, the spectacle, the lies, the money, the fake power. The high vibration is again that 5D reality, which I've talked about. That division in social media is useful to the soulless because it weakens collective coherence, and that's what they want. And many people are so stupid and gullible, they just feed into this. And we don't want to call our family members soulless, but if they are buying into this and believe that people should be killed, harmed, put in a concentration camp, bombed to death, then perhaps your family members, neighbors, and friends may be soulless. Apply the characteristics. So that's interesting because the next part, naming the pattern, not the person. So we don't go into person blaming, people blaming. We look at the pattern. That's the important fact. Because when you start attacking the person, that becomes a big problem. Because then they turn into all kind of stuff. But if you blame the pattern or name the pattern, that's something different. So now before I move forward, I want to offer this distinction because I think it matters to everybody who may be looking at this or who may not, right? We are not here to build a list of enemies, although we know the soulless are enemies to a higher vibration, collective passion, a humanity that I am because we are, right? So we are not here to become detectives of darkness. That's for me type of people to do. The goal of recognition is not obsession, y'all. It's liberation. If you think what I'm saying here is, some sort of denigration of people, look, if the pattern fits, that's it. And I'm giving you characteristics to identify patterns. That's it. Look, watching darkness itself can become another trap. That's why you can't watch the news all the time. You can't sit in your freaking social media feeds that say Mexicans are the problem, that say concentration camps are good. If you are, soullessness seems appropriate to claim for you. The goal is not fascination. The goal is to stop being surprised by what the soulless are doing. This is supposed to happen. We will see the people how align with this. And those that don't. Although it's really hard sometimes to see the emotionless who mimic emotions so clearly, but that's why, in my perspective, many of us intuitive, psychic, spiritual guys, we need to be operating in these echelons and contextual places of power. As we can see, women, Black women, are so tuned into the BS, yet dismissed as nothing. Maybe we need to do a Seinfeld bizarro world. This world has been driven by white men. Let's do bizarro world and put the women into power, because clearly these white men are some sick people. And their reign of white supremacy needs to end. This is the soulless sickness, the pathogen that they teach our children to uptake and be conditioned by, so that they can justify their bullshit by looking at people and saying, oh, they're doing it. They're just like me. And if we stop feeding the architecture, those being surprised and, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening with your life force. Oh my God, everything's ruined. Don't give this crap your life force. Your fear, really? What are you scared of? We all have been complicit in the creation of this BS. So what are you scared of? All this has been reflected back to you is what was created by us. Now, the only reason why you should be in fear is because you are not the folks who were treated in ways in which you had to build serious, functional resilience. That's your fear. And then those older folks who are just scared because, oh my God, the world's falling apart. I'm getting ready to die. Recognition is the beginning of sovereignty. It is not the destination. Our goal should be self-sovereignty. And this is not selfish. And this is not separate from our social 3D reality, right? Which I call an illusion. People believe in this stuff because they just don't know. America is great with conditioning. Having us embody the BS. Self-sovereignty is all about being sovereign over you and that which supports your sovereignty. And unless you are white in this point, or Black, soulless, I don't care what you are. If you're co-signing this, look, it's not about self-sovereignty. That's not self-sovereignty. That's soulless, mass, fake power. Because money, again, is the reigning, it's the God for the soulless. And in that, there is no self-sovereignty. Because like I said, driven around by the lies, your nose is open for the money. More money, more money, more money, more money, more money. So I'm curious. If you want to write something in the chat, which of those 7 characteristics have you seen most in systems or spaces around you? Please name it in the chat. No need to name names, just name the pattern. Before we go on, and I really don't know how to do this, but before we go on to the release and the reframe here, I want to pause and acknowledge something. If this teaching is naming something real in your life, not just globally, but personally, in a relationship, a workplace, a family system, a spiritual community, then what we are going to talk about next is going to matter even more. I do this one-on-one through the Power of Release program. And right now, as a gift to new clients, I'm offering a 75% off your first session in the initial recognition and release session, okay? Through June 20th. Use the promo code all caps, no spaces, spring surprise. That session is where we take everything you are recognizing about yourself and map it into your specific life. We do not stay in theory, we go into your terrain. The link is pinned in the chat, although I have yet to discern how to do all this wonderful stuff that I'm being directed to right now. We will come back to it at the end. Right now, let's keep going, okay? So, release, withdrawing your life force from what cannot carry you, okay? You know, this is one of the soulless, and what can I do? The ultimate guide, the ultimate how-to guide. So, how to withdraw your life force from what you cannot carry. Release is not a spiritual bypass, not anyway. It is not pretending that harm is not real. It is not becoming indifferent. Release is an active withdrawal. What we talked about before is recognized. Now we're in release. It's an active withdrawal from your life force, from 3D reality that is based on scarcity, fear, division, violence, illusion to keep us all confused. And that weaken our power, right? Withdraw your life force from that which weakens your power. Many people stay trapped, not because they cannot see, but because they keep expecting soulless systems to become soulful when harm is obvious. I want to get better. It'll get better. It'll change. We can vote. First of all, I'm predicting that it's not going to be a vote in the way that we think. And so grab that. All right. So, you know, the harm is obvious. The harm is very obvious. The issue is not a lack of evidence of the harm that's being created by the soulless. The issue is the frequency, as I've said before, a system sustained by fear, control, scarcity, and dead money will not become regenerative because you are disappointed in it. Your disappointment, what is that? Release the expectation of it so your power can return to places where movement is actually possible. I mean, come on now. How long are we going to live in this crap? This repeated crap, the black hate crap. I mean, really? I mean, how long are we going to recycle this pattern of a hate? Everybody doesn't look white. We see it. If you don't see it, watch a lot of my videos. You might. Okay. So yes, it will not become regenerative because you're disappointed in it. Release the expectation of it helping you, of it being regenerative. We can't rely on buildings and some policies that can be whiffed away at the I mean, really? Is that what we believe in after we see what is happening? And yes, it may be hard for people to disentangle themselves from the machine that you've been conditioned to believe helps you. But if you don't, and you have the expectation that some of this stuff is going to save you, make change, do something different, release it so your power can return to places where movement is actually possible, right? Look, I got 5 release practices for us right here and now. Practice 1. Stop expecting soulful behavior from soulless systems run by soulless entities. This is the 4D bridge reality, where we see what's the patterns, how we need to release them to continue to elevate. Stop expecting soulful behavior from soulless systems. Naming the systems in your life where you have kept hoping. Name them. Not because hope is wrong, but because misplaced hope is a dream, a drain. Redirect that energy. So, what systems have you been placing hope into that have failed you? Name it. Name it. I dare you to name it, because naming it puts you in the position to have to perhaps do something about it. 2, withdraw spiritual consent from dead money. This is all about money. And if you think it's not, then you are truly deluded. This does not mean rejecting money, because we need money, especially in American, look, we need money. I ain't gonna get into it. But it means when you reject money, it means you're refusing to treat money as sacred authority. I mean, many people all across the economic and class-based spectrum center money as the end-all be-all. It's a sacred authority. You move for the money. You work where the money is. You even put a wig on and cover up your authenticity for the money. You will even give your kids to someone else to raise for the money. You will even give away your self-sovereignty and, like I said, authenticity for the money. And then you will let your life pass you by for the money, believing that your retirement is going to do something for you because of the money. And now I got time. I know so many people have died as retirement started. Their life energy was gone, and they had a whole nother type of retirement. Ask yourself, where has money fear and scarcity shaped my sense of worth? Oh yeah, I've answered this question over and over again in my dark night of the soul. You ask, where have I confused financial accumulation with spiritual safety? I'm good. I'm good. Where have I allowed money-centered systems to define what is realistic for me? Oh, you know what? 25 years here, and then you can retire with like $500,000, a 401k, and then you can live. You can truly live at 65. Practice 3. Protect your attention. Your attention is spiritual currency. I hate to say it. When I was in college, everything was political. I didn't know. Politics is where you take a stand, you have an opinion, you believe. Politics is everything. And we've been under the belief that it's not, okay? But also, not only is politics everything, but it's also spiritual. Because we should be operating in some sort of morality. I hate that word, but some sort of higher mind understanding. of everything, but we don't, you know, and our attention is currency and it is spiritual because it's spiritual because that is who you are. Your attention brings things to you. Your attention feeds you. What you attend to is you, and it's spiritual. What you repeatedly consume trains your nervous system, and I've talked about this with this collective trauma. If your feed makes you more reactive, and for many people it is, if it makes you more fearful, contemptuous, numb, or hopeless, look, it's not merely informing you about what's happening here. Let's get real about that, okay? It's conditioning you, and that's what America is, a cycle of conditioning throughout the life span. Now, this is not conditioning for us to be self sovereign and self determining in an environment that is just supportive and affirmational of all of us. No. Uh, it's informing you and conditioning you in ways that serve the soulless. Protecting your attention does not mean denying reality. Look, I'm a spiritual God, a transformative resonance God. I deal in frequencies, vibration, life transitioning, rebirth, and death in a cycle of life. I don't mean death like spirit realm. Many people go through cycles of death and rebirth. I'm in that. Doesn't mean denying reality. It means refusing to let every low frequency signal into your field as as if it deserves access to your spirit. And in America, we are so divided from our spirit. It's like our spirit becomes the sole property of religion. And religion is some man's meanderings and machinations. Just think, the Templars just killed people for the Catholics. Just think, Christianity, nationalism, throwing people into concentration camps, killing people. For what? A Christian nation? So, protecting your attention does not mean denying reality. You got to see what's happening out here. It means refusing to let every low frequency signal into your reality. You got to take a diet. You got to fast. Just don't stay in all the time. And diversify your feed. Come on now. I mean, for God's sake, why are you feeding yourself the same old bullshit? That does nothing for you. It's not changing your condition. It's not making you feel better. It's just allowing you to sin in and recycle the same old BS that you've been mad about forever. It's not going to change for you. It's always going to be the same shit. Because if they clear up and fix stuff, then that means somebody's going to lose some money in some way, shape, or form. And nobody wants to lose the almighty dollar. Release the illusions that bind you, okay? The 3D reality is an illusion for those of us who can't see it because it's all serving one ultimate purpose. The fear, the scarcity, the division is not serving us clearly because inflation is high, gas is high, groceries are high, people are divided, more hate. But that's the illusion that we're supposed to exist within, and many people accept that shit. Of all persuasions. The illusion that explaining humanity to the spiritually unreceptive will make them care. They don't care. There is no fixing. Some soulless, particularly those in this soulless renaissance, who are just rapidly in that desperate attempt not to allow instinctually the spiritual evolution, they are going crazy. They are spiritually unreceptive. They don't care. They are sick. Are you sick? Have you been conditioned, trained so much by the society that you actually believe what they believe? They're sick. So, the illusion also encompasses that staying overwhelmed proves your commitment. That's what I thought at work. I could be overwhelmed, work all the time. That was a commitment. Oh my God. I was just wore out. The illusion that the solar system will become soulful because harm is obvious. They don't give a freak. The illusion that wealth guarantees wisdom. We already talked about that. Practice 5. Name what you're carrying. Name what you're carrying that is not yours. Many of us are carrying things that are not ours. And so that is what the work with me is about. Understanding what you're carrying that is not yours, what is not serving you. Okay, inherited patterns, ancestral fear, family system loyalties, patriotism, generational patriotism based on the denigration of certain people. These are some of the heaviest weights people carry without recognizing them as a weight. A significant part of release work is discovering that some of what is blocking you was handed to you. There are many folks in this society who've been handed racism. They've taken it up. Their families conditioned them, only their family, but schools, religion, everything they've been in. Because most white people and Black people, we exist in our own little segregated communities, which is purposeful, not because we want to. It's called social engineering, policies based on racism. So all of our work is thinking about what's been handed to us and not chosen by us, what we're carrying, because what we're carrying also dictates how we understand what is happening in this world around us. And so it's a reflection moment. I'm going to give you a moment right now, just because, just a moment of honest inventory. So where have I, not me, but you, have been given my life force to the illusion? Maybe it's expectation that a person will finally become accountable. Maybe it is the hope that a system will protect you without pressure or organization. Maybe it is the quiet worship of money as the only path to safety. Maybe it is the belief that consuming more crises will eventually make you feel prepared. Don't judge what comes up in those questions. Just notice it. That noticing is the beginning of release. If you want to share, drop one word in the chat for what you're ready to release. Just one word. So, if we're releasing all this stuff and we're in the 4D phase, and listen, the 4D bridge phase, yes, we're recognizing and we're releasing. So this work all happens simultaneously. It's not we go through the bridge phase, we get to the 5D, then we release. Release is ongoing anyway. But we need to start doing some of this work now. The recognition and the release. But look, the reframe. The reframe is so important. Power from an open hand, not a hand clenched around a wad of money. So what does 5D power actually look like? Look, the reframe is power is not only what the soulless model has taught you, it is. It's not. A closed fist grips fear, money, control, status, punishment, lies, illusion. That is 3D power. And that is what is being fought for right now in this 4D bridge phase. It is exhausting to maintain. As you see what's happening to us right now, many of you are just exhausted from what's happening here. Not just because of seeing it, but just because of what you are emoting in relation to it. Okay? And for those of us who hold it, it's still exhausting. Open-handed power is different. It can set boundaries, tell the truth, organize, pray, rest, create, refuse, vote, build, protect. Its strength comes from spiritual sovereignty, not panic. 5D, the fifth dimension. Many of us already are fifth dimensional beings. Some believe that will turn into crystalline form in the fifth dimension. I don't aspire to that particular belief because I am a fifth dimensional being already, just by the very nature of many things about me. And there are many of us like me who are fifth dimensional. But 5D is where we come to terms with a humanity built on love, compassion, collective humanity. And this reframe is not naive. It does not deny materialness. We need it. It refuses to treat material power as the only power. And that's what the issue is. Money here is the only power in the 3D. And you know what? Here's a question that could change everything. Besides every place you named where your life force has been going, I want you to hold a second question. What would open-handed power look like here for you and for the society? Because we cannot go back. We cannot. We cannot keep repeating. We cannot. Aren't you tired? Are you tired of this? So what would open-handed power look like? Okay. And not what the fearful version of you do. Not what the three-dimensional reality response is. What would it look like if you acted from spiritual sovereignty in this situation? Which is hard because most of y'all are situated in religious doctrine. You believe, and that's deep conditioning. Maybe religion, I don't know. Some people can be spiritual. I don't get it. But I'm gonna sit here because I'm believing that perhaps those of us who are not just spiritual, those people, there's a mass exodus from religion. I'm giving it up. So, what would it look like if you acted from, or I acted from, spiritual sovereignty in this situation? That is the question the power of release work is designed to help you answer, right? Specifically in your specific life, with your specific patterns, history, and gifts. It can enhance your sense of personal power, particularly in handling what is happening here in our social reality, in this 3D illusion where money is God, and people believe that this is what it's supposed to be. So I'm inviting the collective consciousness. Look, we're not here to be entertained by collapse. That's not what it is. We are not here to stare at darkness until it becomes our atmosphere, although I love sitting in darkness. And for those of us who like to meditate, the dark is good. This 4D bridge phase is asking for disciplined recognition, honest release, and a reframed relationship to power, which many people are not willing to give up. The question is whether we will choose to live from that awakening with enough courage, steadiness, and clarity to stop letting this old BS define this old recycling world that these people want, that hate people. Stop letting that define what power is. In this soulless renaissance, open-handed reimagining of power supports the collective spiritual evolution into 5D wholeness. Look, this is not abstract, not at all. It is a daily practice of choosing your soul, your spirit, over the architecture that wants to drain it. If I have stuff on architecture on my website, check it out. So I'm going to ask you in the chat, what is one thing you are choosing to reframe today? Even one small thing counts. Drop it in the chat. Now, let me bring this back to the center before we close. All right. The souls are visible, very visible, acutely visible right now because the conditions that empowered them are being challenged in our spiritual evolution. Fear, scarcity, domination, material obsession, manipulation. They're all losing their invisibility. They were never invisible before. But for those people who needed to have a hammer hit you in the head, it's hitting you. So the mask still functions in many, many places, as we see, but it no longer works the way it is doing in this 4D bridge phase. I mean, people are seeing the patterns. Some look, that visibility is not comfortable, particularly for those who believed, I don't know. It's not comfortable, but it is definitely useful. We cannot release a pattern while it remains disguised as normal. And for many of you out there, all this is normal because you've been trained like a dog, puppy, to see it as that, conditioned. Give it to you. Ooh, you want it. You've been conditioned. And I hate to say it that way, but it is truly conditioning. And dogs are conditioned. They're trained. I named the characteristics like genuine empathy, performed feeling, manipulation, instrumental relationships, cruelty without remorse, emotional flatness in the face of suffering, rigid controlled. These traits become especially dangerous when they shape public systems the way they are, the way they have always, and the way they are doing it egregiously. Now, because the spiritual deadness, this is no longer private. The soullessness is no longer private. It is. It always has been, because it's been soulless since the beginning or the founding of this particular country. Law, policy, economy, platform design, right? What you see in your feed, and collective habit. But let me tell you, you're not a bystander. Not at all. You are a soul, a spirit, a special, put on this earth, purposefully entity. To be in this evolutionary shift. You're here purposefully. And with what I just provided, you now have a method. Recognize the pattern, release the illusions and the emotions that maintain your allegiance to that. Reframe the power from an open hand. Look, before I give you the final invitation, I want to make sure you leave here with something in your hands. As many of you know, I've developed practice guides, definitely. Free practice guides, educational, reflective, exercises built around recognize, release, and reframe. The cornerstone of the Power of Release program. These are not summaries. These are activated, definite guides. And right now I'm showing you the link in bio so you can go get these guides. This is a how-to ultimate guide. How can you do the work the how-to without learning how to. People want the easy way out. Just give me some stuff and I'm fine. No, you're not fine. Any growth in life is work. You can go grab on to the easy packets of information, learn Kundalini and be free in 5 weeks, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Get this program. Go to the fifth dimension. Speak to your new self. You will become rich in the present. That's all 3D bullshit. These people, money is God. Any change, growth, journey to something new and beautiful, it takes effort. And it takes effort. And I guess because I don't offer these get spiritual quick guides that tell you exactly what to do to be spiritual or healed in 30 days. Look, this is not me. I know all this takes work. That's why I'm here. And again, I will say emphatically that the way in which I behave in my social media spaces to get the message out is not a reflection of my one-on-one client interaction. These are working guides, and you can begin today with these guides. Look, there's a link in the QR code. Go to link in bio. They're just there. You ain't got to sign up. I realized with the sign up, people didn't want them. I don't want them. I created them for the public. If I wanted some money, I would charge and put them on Amazon. But these are free to help you discern what is happening. That's recognition. To figure out how to release it, to resonate, and how to reframe your life in ways that don't have you dependent on a freaking system that clearly can be blown away with one person after years of fighting and documenting. Release yourself from that. And so now, if this teaching did more than inform you today, if it names something in your personal life, in a relationship, in a pattern that you've been carrying, in a system that you've been waiting to change you, the next step is the initial recognition radar session, okay? This is a 90-minute deep dive using my proprietary somatic metaphysical tarot process. We map exactly where the tension, inherited patterns, and urgency are shaping your life. We begin your personal release map together, which is part of this process. This is where all of this teaching becomes transformation. And for new clients, look, through June 20th, your first session is 75% off. The promo code is Spring Surprise, all caps. This QR code will take you to the website where you can see the eligible sessions that are starred. And you will also see the promo code throughout where that QR code will take you, so you won't forget. Look, this is not a sales call. You're not calling me to be situated in some more sales. As you can see, I'm not about sales. If I was, I'd be doing something different on YouTube, really. All right? This is the first movement of the method applied to your life. If you're ready to stop circling the recognition, external, internal, and start doing the work, which takes effort, there is no quick fix. This is the door. Okay? So, what I'd like to do is, wow, this is really intense, you know? Absolutely. What I would like to do here is just really give a thank you, right? I want to thank all you beautiful souls. Thank you for being here. For those of you who sat through this or will sit through it later, thank you for doing this work. If you engage the prompts, subscribe to Feel the power of release from our teaching. Share the stream with someone who is trying to understand the spiritual pressure of the moment. They may need this language. Do not let a soulless age make you less available to your own soul. Recognize the pattern, release the illusion, reframe power with an open hand. I will see you in the work. Blessings.